Welcome everybody. No, this is not a Christmas video.
Yes, it was Black Friday, and on Black Friday, I decorate for Christmas.
But we're going to do our second video on Alaska. So we're back.
We're back.
In this video, we're going to talk about our best experiences.
And our worst experiences.
Yes. And the trip was great, but man, you're gone for 6 months. You're going to have some bad things.
Yeah, not everything is just rainbows and apple pie and
unicorns.
And that's some of the things we're going to discuss is, you know, our favorite things, the worst things, and things we don't want to do again because of those bad experiences.
That's
and things we do differently.
So let's jump into it. We're going to start with the excursions, tours that we went on. So
things that cost a lot of money.
Yeah, money.
And we're going to go through that in the next video, by the way.
Yeah, once again, not looking forward to that.
You shouldn't be.
Yeah. So what was your top excursion?
Oh, man. That's hard.
It is.
Well, obviously, you know, bears, Katmai, just be so close to the bears and just, you know, the whole travel experience of flying over there, just going over there, landing on the beach and just seeing the bears, you know, right there on the beach and
it's
the
a
falls.
very unique experience that you just don't get anywhere else. So, yeah, okay, I can see that as number one.
And that was a bucket list item because we wanted to see bears catching fish, you know, in midair.
Yep.
And we saw that.
Yep,
But
very true.
Most of them went fishing, though. Most of them caught their fish with their heads under the water more so than just catching them in midair.
All right, so that's a good number one. But I've got a different number one for a different reason. Yeah, I really enjoyed down in Valdez. I really enjoyed the Lulu Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah, Captain Fred, of course, he let me drive the boat.
You're not getting a boat.
But it was a nice, really big, smooth boat.
You're not getting a boat.
Well, it's still my favorite.
You're not getting a boat.
It's still my favorite. And I really enjoyed it because the variety of wildlife.
Yeah.
I just enjoyed being on the boat out in that Prince Edward Sound area. It's just gorgeous. And orcas. It was a beautiful day.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen orcas that close.
They were close.
In great weather.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think that helped too. That was part of the whole experience too, is because the weather was so good. The seas were nice and smooth. We had a little bit of sun and saw a lot of otters and the glacier and that's a good one.
Yeah, I really.
But you're not getting a boat.
Gosh, man. Okay, one of these days.
No.
I'll try. Keep trying.
Good luck.
All right, so number two, you know, we could take the boat up to Alaska.
All right, so that happens to be my number two. Not taking the boat to Alaska. But the other major bear experience that we had was the Annan observation deck.
I'm getting a theme here with bears.
Yeah, and to get there, you go by boat. And we actually saw some huge, like this huge mega yacht that was parked in the little, not the lagoon, but in the bay area.
It was beautiful.
And they took a little Zodiac to the beach, to get off the beach, to go through the rainforest, and right there to the observation deck.
So we could do that on a boat.
You're not getting a boat.
So Annan, that's really cool. I mean, the hike is really neat going up there.
Yeah, it's kind of like going into Arches National Park. You just start setting you up and going through the rainforest and seeing the Annan Lagoon, and then you go to the Annan Creek, and then you make that corner, and then they stop you and say, okay, are you clear? Because I mean, the
check for bears.
Check for bears. So they do the bear check. We cross in. We get there. And it's just like this enchanted rainforest area, and it's majority of black bears, but there are coastal brown bears too.
Yeah, one of the few places actually that you can actually see both species there in the same place.
So that was really cool. And the cubs, there were so many bear cubs. And everybody hears about Katmai, but not a lot of people hear about Annan.
Kind of staying
on
the boat theme.
You're not getting a boat.
We went to LeConte Glacier while we were at Wrangell. And, you know, this was almost a throwaway tour for us because we couldn't get, our schedules didn't match with going on another tour. So they said, well, how about going to LeConte? And we're like, well, we've seen glaciers.
Seen
and they
one,
said,
you've seen them all.
They said, this is pretty spectacular. The glacier tour is really cool. I mean, it was more than just the glacier. It was more than just the landscape of getting to the glacier. It was these icebergs, or you were calling them
glassbergs.
Yeah. I'd never seen anything like that floating around in the water. It was almost like an artist came out there.
Like glass, like blown glass. Yeah, it was really neat. And the funny thing is, even though this is one of your top excursions, I mean, it probably should have been mine too, because I hit 2 bucket list items. One was to actually photograph the calving of an iceberg, and that's what made this LeConte Glacier so special, is because it's so active.
Yeah, I second guessed it one day.
Oh my God. That's going to leave a wake. Nice. That'll leave a wake.
Oh. And the other bucket list item was to get a picture of a seal on an iceberg.
Oh, that's right. And there was like
a lot,
100 of them out there, just
sneaky little boogers too,
enjoying themselves on these icebergs.
Yeah.
So what was your number 3?
Well, okay, so staying in that glacier mode.
Okay.
When we went to McCarthy, you can do Exit Glacier, and I love picture taking, and to be able to photograph a blue pool. I mean, just to see it, but to photograph it is just, that's probably one of my favorite pictures of the entire trip. I mean, that's definitely in my top 5 pictures, that just being able to experience that and hike across, and then the skies cleared up and we saw, what was it, the world's second largest ice fall. Yeah, and so that was really neat to see.
It's beautiful up there on the glacier. There are caves and holes,
so you think just
what they call moulins.
Yeah, you just think you're just going to walk across a big thing of snow, but we saw so many different features.
Yeah, the terrain is unbelievable. My third one didn't involve a boat or a car either. It involved a train.
We're going on this transportation theme, it sounds like.
That's right. So we didn't get a chance to do this last time. It's the hurricane train. It's the only one in existence, and it's the hurricane flag train.
So explain what a flag train is.
Yeah, so a flag train is this route that takes you from point A to point B. They turn around and they come back to point A again. So it comes back to the origin. But the flag part of it is that there are communities, or that's a strong word.
Single residents.
People that live next to the tracks or in the vicinity of the track. And when they want to catch the train, they come out to the railroad track.
Flag them down.
And they flag them down. And the railroad will stop. So these guys have a very fluid schedule. They don't know, if they're going to get to a place at 1 o'clock, at noon, at 3, they just don't know.
And what was neat about it too is not only were they dropping off and picking up residents along the track, but we saw some people that were going to do some like kayaking, that they wanted to be dropped off in the river, and they had their kayaks with them, and they just did the float, like a float trip back down to Talkeetna, and some hikers, some bikers.
It was very unique.
To be able to see people living way out, I mean, like way out in the wilderness, to where you can't even get there by car.
Right, exactly.
I mean, the only way to get there was by train.
Yeah, that's the only way. I was a little disappointed though, because I thought, I didn't do enough research obviously, I thought there was a town called Hurricane. And that we went there,
and we're going to stop and have lunch.
You know, and have lunch and, you know, take a look at the view. And so, yeah, well, we did stop at Hurricane.
But it was Hurricane Gulch.
Not a town.
No.
We stopped on this trestle that was 289 feet above Hurricane Gulch. So it's not like you're just getting out to walk around.
And then you just had this gorgeous panoramic view of the Alaska mountain range.
It was beautiful.
We saw Denali.
They also stop for animals and wildlife.
Yeah, and
They
then
told us
they
that.
backed the train up.
Yeah, like
And that
several
That
times.
set the precedence. Like, okay, if they're going to stop and back the train up to go see a bear, I expect that from you. And then that stop along the river there by the another bridge.
Oh, yeah.
He said, we own the tracks now. We can do whatever we want. We're not on too much of a schedule.
We're the only ones here.
So we're just going to stop right here in the middle of the nowhere and by this beautiful river and the cliffs and just enjoy the
Twin
scenery.
Rivers or something like that. And they said that was the first time in weeks that they actually
was
could
that season,
stop.
maybe?
Or maybe that season so far, because the weather had been, you know, not real great. It was the first nice day, and they said, we're stopping.
Yeah.
And it was gorgeous.
It was.
So those were our top excursions or tours, generally things that we paid for, which I'm going to get heck for next week.
He's paying for it all right.
Oh, we've already paid for it. I'm going to pay for it again.
You are.
But so this time, what were our favorite experiences? These things that really weren't specifically a tour that we actually laid out cash for directly.
Yeah, it's one of the, what was it, the credit card commercial where it's, you know, $5 for this, $10 for this.
Oh, yeah.
It's the experience.
But
it's
the
priceless.
view is priceless, yeah. My top experience that I really enjoyed, and this probably, if anyone's watched any of our videos, this is probably going to come as no surprise, but it's going up the Dalton to the Arctic. Arctic, you surprised by that?
2 more videos, guys. Yes.
I loved going up on the Dalton, the Hall Road, and being in the Arctic. Being in the Arctic for me, I don't know what it was.
It was surreal.
It was just, it was so cool just to be above that 66th parallel and to be in the Arctic. I mean, to spend
You're
a
so
week
remote
in the Arctic,
yeah,
the
it was
wilderness.
Very remote. Very, and it felt like a wilderness.
Oh man, it did. It was so neat just being up there and the wildlife and the muskox.
Yes, that
and
was
the
my
bears
favorite.
and the fox and the caribou. It was just so cool. And then getting up to Prudhoe Bay. That was really neat.
That was really surreal for me. That looks like, I don't want to say it was something like on a science fiction movie. If you want to get a taste of Mars, I think Dead Horse would be it.
The buildings are up on stilts.
Yeah.
It's all commercial. There is no grocery store there.
None.
There's
a convenience store.
One place to fuel. And no dump stations, no RV parks. It's all commercial. It's all for the oil industry.
Yeah.
But the guys are so nice up there.
Oh man, they're just so nice. Yeah.
I took her out on a Friday night, the nicest place in the whole Arctic. Matter of fact, it's like the only place in the Arctic. At the Aurora Hotel. That was actually good.
Yeah, but what blew my mind away is, well, first of all, being able to take a road to someplace so remote.
Oh, I know.
And that road was built, it's all on gravel, and just the amount of gravel that was brought in to build that road. But then even within Dead Horse, because it's on the tundra and the permafrost, everything is built up on, like 5 to 10 feet of gravel.
Yeah.
Just having to bring all that gravel in, that just blew me away.
To be in the Arctic, to spend a week in the Arctic that to me was just, that was so cool. That was so cool. So, so that was my number one experience, I'll say. That sort of helped make the trip for me. So what was, what was yours?
Well, I have a lot, but in keeping with the water theme, the boar tides, because that was a bucket list item for me. At first boar tide, we took Curiosity. We parked Curiosity there at the Overlook. How fast and just the speed and the amount of power that it had. I just,
it's incredible.
That to me, that was so surreal. I mean, it just like, wow.
And seeing on that second time, seeing the surfers surfing the boar tide.
Yeah.
So cool, so neat. It just
was.
Yeah, that was. I like that. Yeah, that was good.
Well, of course you would like it. You like to surf. I'm surprised you did. I'm disappointed that you didn't go out there and surf.
Oh man, that water's cold. I'm used to 80-degree water in Hawaii. My number 2 is once again, no surprise. I'm keeping with the Arctic theme. Is going up the Dempster and actually then camping on the shores of the Arctic Ocean. I mean, the Dalton was sort of the appetizer. It got us into the Arctic.
And that's when we decided, we got to camp here.
We got to do Dempster.
Yeah.
Because we went in the fall, right on the 1st of September. The colors.
They were so pretty. We kept stopping and just like, wow, look at the colors. Just gorgeous.
Yeah, and you're definitely in a remote area, but there are a few towns, I'll say. So there's a little more civilization. A little more.
Well, okay, so
on the Dempster.
You're right. The fact that there were 2 grocery stores on the Dempster, which was in Fort McPherson, and then one actually in Inuvik.
Yeah, and
actually,
that was a nice one in McPherson.
Yeah, and then one in Tuktoyaktuk.
Yep.
So there's 3 grocery stores. You know, so my thing is, you know you're in the wilderness when you can't get a gallon of milk somewhere.
That's right. Really nice people, and that's where we actually tasted muktuk from a
beluga whale skin.
Local couple that was there and invited us over their campsite. We also had moose.
Yeah.
First time I had moose.
It's actually pretty good.
It was good.
So now when I look at a moose, it's like,
dinner.
Oh, look how cute.
Yeah, so I enjoyed Dempster. So what was your number 2?
So Denali National Park. People asked, was it worth taking the e-bikes? And I thought that was the coolest thing, that when we were camping out at Teklenika.
Yep, that's right. Teklenika Campground.
That we could just get on our bikes and drive down the middle of the road and there's just nobody around. I mean, nobody. And just to immerse ourselves, I felt like that was our park. When they say find your park, that I felt like that was our park. And you know, we were starting to go up, especially the bike ride up to say, well, you were sweating it a little bit.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I had enough energy.
So whenever I'm getting ready to do any exercising, whether it's a hiking or biking trip, I actually do a lot of research. I'll go on my apps and say, okay, what's the elevation change? What am I getting myself into?
How do
I allocate my energy? You know, how many snacks do I have to eat? So I knew exactly what to expect.
Yeah. She didn't clue me in on what the route was going to be. I didn't know we were going up to, I don't know, was it 9,000 feet at Sable Pass? And so I had no idea, man. That lasts 2.5, 3 miles.
And you were trying to save your energy.
My batteries.
Your battery energy.
And my legs.
He's like riding, and I'm like, well, use your bike. Yeah, that's why we have it.
Kick in that battery. And I'm like, well, I don't know, you know? So I'm like huffing and puffing getting up this road.
Yeah. But that was pretty cool. And it was just so quiet. It was so serene, and you know, we saw you know, the wildlife. We saw the bear and the cubs it was like a mile or two up on the side of the hill, and the doll sheep and the moose.
And the golden eagles. I mean, it was
the
amazing.
Caribou, and they were right there. We had a ranger actually stop us and say, she probably shouldn't have said this, but she goes, just be aware, there's a bear about a mile up the road. I'm like, oh, I powered that bike up. I said, we're going.
We're leaving now. Denali is so unique because you can only access it via the activity buses.
Right.
And they only run about every 30, 45 minutes.
You're driving by a creek. You just want to stop and just close your eyes and listen.
Yeah. Really cool to be here in Denali biking. I mean, just listen.
We can hear the river, the birds.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all by ourselves here.
Yep, literally, because we're not seeing any animals.
Yeah, we're not seeing any. We saw a golden eagle just a little while ago. It's surreal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys can hear this, the sounds of Denali. That was nice.
For me, just the Denali experience, biking
ride.
Denali, that's in my top experience.
Okay. My third top experience would be, once again, probably no surprise, the hike up to Harding Ice Fields.
That was awful.
We went back to Seward in August specifically for
Just
that reason.
For this hike.
Because it was closed earlier when we got there because there was too much snow.
Yes.
This time the weather was gorgeous. No denying us this time the hike.
No excuses not to go, actually.
It was really, really nice. I loved it. We started off in kind of the mist and the fog. And then we hiked through the fog and got above it and saw the sun in the blue skies with the clouds below us.
I felt like we were in heaven.
Yeah,
it was just...
That was amazing. But what's so neat is that you're up on top of this mountain and literally it is an ice field. This ice field feeds about 40 other glaciers below.
And was it 700 square miles or something like that?
700 and something square miles,
Huge.
It's huge. You're on the same mountain ridge line. It's just... below you could be 2,000 or 3,000 feet
easily
deep of ice.
Yes.
And it's incredible. There's valleys below you, but it's all ice.
Covered in ice. Thousands, yeah. They said a couple thousand feet. That's
so
the deepest point.
that was just, to me, that was just unbelievable. Probably our favorite lunch spot.
Yeah, by far.
We always rank our picnic spots.
Yeah.
And I'd say that's a favorite.
Hiking is not going to be in my top 10 list, but I like driving. Driving's kind of my thing. I don't mind the biking, but the driving, I like to drive. I like to sit and drive and just enjoy it, listen to some music, and enjoy the landscapes and the animals. So that's going to be my number 3 is the driving of the Denali Highway, kind of swinging back down to Denali.
Yeah.
I thought you were a little weird by wanting to take that. So I was expecting the views, but I wasn't expecting to see all that wildlife. I wish we spent more time on it.
Oh, yeah.
And
next time, easily a week or more.
Easily a week. The views were gorgeous. The wildlife was incredible, and the fact that, and it wasn't busy. There was hardly anybody on the road again.
Well, I can understand that. It's not a great road. And the whole Alaska range that you're just driving next to it.
And the glaciers on it.
It's unbelievable.
So for me, so it seems like our favorite experiences are driving these horrible roads.
It's the views and the scenery. Yeah.
You go for the experience, but not for the comfort of it, if you will.
That's exactly right. So, I can see that. That's a good number 3. On a trip of this nature, you're going to run into surprises. Good and bad.
Good and bad.
Things that you didn't plan on, things that you couldn't plan on. And so we want to list sort of our top, and we had so many.
Oh, yeah.
This was difficult. But my biggest surprise, I guess, that was really pleasant was meeting all the viewers out on the trip. I didn't expect that at all. I mean, we saw people as we were going into Walmart and talked to them, and on the side of a rest area we were having lunch. Someone came up and at Overlooks on the way down to Valdez. It was it was amazing. I never expected that.
Yeah, it really caught us off guard.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah.
And it was amazing to to meet everyone out there.
Yeah.
And we're really thankful that people that we did see that came up to us.
Yeah.
Because we really enjoy meeting everybody. So.
We weren't expecting that at all.
Yeah, so in the future, if you guys see us out there, definitely come up, say hi, because we enjoy that.
Funniest
really
part
cool.
was when we were overlooking the Wrangell St. Elias mountains, and they were gorgeous, and we heard a couple behind us, well, you're not going to find a Whataburger here.
That's true. What? So what was your, I guess, pleasant surprise, something that you really can't plan on?
Well, this is going to sound really weird. So in Star Trek, that one movie where Picard just stopped time and everything just stood still because you just want to live in that moment.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It was just one of those time-stopping moments. And this is
like a perfect moment.
It is, and this is going to sound really stupid. So we had just finished the Kennecott Mine Tour on McCarthy. We were riding our bikes around, and so we generally don't eat out a lot.
That's right.
That's not our thing.
Well, as much food as she packed,
we didn't
need to be eating out a lot.
That's right. We heard about this food truck, and we said, well, we're hungry, let's just stop, get something to eat. And so we found the food truck, and it was behind this building. And so down a hill. So next to the food truck was this big, like, covered barnish looking thing.
Yeah.
And it was that perfect day. The sun was out, it was warm, but there was a cool breeze. We were in the shade on a picnic table. And then that's when it all started to happen for me. That's when time started slowing down, because there were some guys there, a band. I don't know if they were going to be playing down in McCarthy, but they started practicing and playing the music, the guitar and singing. And then behind them is the view, exit Glacier. And then we've got the two mountains, the two glaciers. And it was just, to me, it was just unbelievable. It was just like time stopping.
Yeah, we were sitting there.
And the food was actually really good too.
The food was great, and we had gotten our meal, and we sat down, and the view was before us. These guys started to play, and it was just very, in the moment. You just wanted to just stop.
Stop it.
And that's what we experienced. It was amazing.
Yeah.
That was a good one. I like that.
Yeah, it just blew me away.
Perfect moment. You can't make reservations for that.
No.
Yeah. So once again, a trip of this nature, we had bad things that happened.
Yeah, and bad things happen.
No doubt.
I mean, and
it's how you get through those and react to them is what's important.
Exactly.
So what were, I guess, some of the top bad things, the best of the bad,
the best of the worst
that happened to us?
Well, day one, the black tank exploded through the bathroom sink like Old Faithful, and it just went everywhere. And it's like, so that's how we started day one. That was April 17th, and we weren't even 30 minutes outside our daughter's house, and just, so that was probably one of the worst experiences. But these are things that it could happen on any trip.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like we were up on Dalton, and the wheels we were rolling one day started to squeal on us.
Oh, my gosh.
I thought we'd thrown a bearing.
Yes.
I thought something got in there.
Well, we were panicking.
I mean, we're up in the Arctic, and, what are you going to do? There's nothing around. But there's a lot of commercial truck repair places. So we actually found a Ford place that these guys aren't retail. They don't, they're all working for a company. But the guy was super nice, came out.
He knew exactly what it was.
He knew exactly what it was. He said, oh, yeah, just go in reverse, go forward, go back in reverse. He said, work it out. It's a rock that's in between your brake calipers. For me, at that moment, I was sort of freaking out a little bit because we're 400 miles from anywhere. That was probably one of my worst moments, I'll say.
Yeah.
That got worked through.
And we just had
pretty
some
quick.
general breakdowns. I mean, overall, I'll say Curiosity went really well. Like the slides and the lock and, the propane and, there's just some other things that just happened that weren't, I don't say they weren't like showstoppers or roadblocks, but we just kind of worked through them.
In 2017, we had heard that there were mosquitoes in Alaska. But we really lucked out because we never ran into any mosquitoes on our trip.
Yeah.
So we thought, oh man, we had the right route. Well, we come back this year. Yeah. We found the mosquitoes.
We found them and we made up for it. It was unbelievable. So it was horrible, but it was actually really funny because we kept saying, "Oh, so this is where this is what everybody's talking about."
Yeah, here's the state bird of Alaska.
Yeah, where you're at in the time of year that are the pockets of mosquitoes. Like you were talking to the ranger in Denali, and she said that from a plane's view, you could just see these clouds of mosquitoes.
Oh yeah, well, and the guys up in the Arctic at Prudhoe were saying the same thing. It was almost like a cloud that would be moving on the horizon.
Right.
The mosquitoes were so thick.
Yeah, there were some excursions and some experiences that we had that were a bit disappointing. And so for me, the McCarthy, just that McCarthy road, it killed me. It took us 12 hours to go 60 miles, but we stopped for about 2 hours between lunch and the beaver and some of the other picture taking. It was slow. It was very slow going.
It's a bad road.
It's just a bad road. So for me, that's a worst. I mean, the McCarthy Road is probably the number one worst thing we did in Alaska.
The destination, McCarthy and Kennecott, was phenomenal. But man, that road, that was terrible. I don't know if I'll drive that again. So what about our first big tour in Seward?
Oh.
The wildlife tour.
No. That was out of their control.
Yeah.
That was not pleasant.
Yeah. We did see whales, though.
We saw the orcas, and you said you got to get to Seward early to see the orcas.
Yep.
And we did.
We saw them.
It was rainy. It was windy. It was cold.
Yep. And the seas were rough.
Oh, my goodness.
It was so bad that normally the tour company sells the seasickness medicine.
Yeah, the Dramamine.
And the Dramamine and the drops, the ginger suckers that you lozenges that you can take. They normally sell those.
They were pushing it hard.
They're handing them out for free.
Yeah,
it was so bad. Yeah. But yeah, I would say that was probably the worst tour,
but it was bad because of the weather.
Yeah, we saw everything we wanted to. Knowing what you know now, what would you have done differently on this trip that we just finished?
Besides not going in horrible weather on an orca tour.
Besides that, if we could control the weather.
So one of the things that we did want to do was the Iditarod. Just do the dog sled thing. Yep. And we chose to do the dog sled tour in Wasilla, which was really cool because Riley, he is a dog sledder, and we went on a dog sled track with his team, his dog team, and that was really neat, especially since Riley's an active Iditarod racer, and just being able to talk to him. But looking back, I wish we had taken that extra day and done it on the snow, where you fly up either a helicopter or plane and you land up on a glacier where the dogs are actually training in the snow.
We were in McCarthy and we were going to take a flight seeing tour over the Wrangell mountain ice fields and such. We've heard it's spectacular. We didn't because we were worried about the weather. But after having done the hike and seeing that, generally speaking, these ice fields are above the clouds, I wish we would have taken that flight scene.
Yeah.
Now, I did save us by not taking it.
Oh, you saved us. Good job.
I did save
you
us
saved us
about
a lot of money.
$700.
You definitely did, because we hiked up and saw instead of
Exactly.
flying
That
up
was
and
much less
and
expensive.
seeing it. Yeah, good job.
So next time, and there will be a next time for Alaska,
Yay.
we're going to bring the big rig, Orion and Voyager. So what do you want to do differently?
Oh, all kinds of things. So our
Lord.
trip, our trip in 17 and 23, those were two totally different trips.
Yep.
And so how I like to do a buffet is I'll go and I'll take a bite of everything, and then I want to go back and just get a bigger portion of that, the specific things that I like.
Like dessert.
But so I think we want to go back and spend more time in some of our favorite places and
Okay.
experiences.
Yep. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. We'll have a home base in some places and take tours and excursions that you can't get to in an RV.
Right. So yeah, we've done everything you can possibly drive to, but there's so much more to Alaska that you can't drive to.
Yeah.
And so maybe we
that'll be
will
good.
stay at a place long enough to where
Yep.
we can just kind of branch off into some different areas.
Yep. And I think if we take a trip like up Dalton or on Denali Highway, I think we take a longer time.
Yes.
And enjoy the area and
Yeah.
just spend more time on it. So I like that. Yeah, that sounds good.
We might actually have a relaxing vacation
Maybe.
instead of a fun vacation.
Maybe. I think it'll still be fun. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed our wrap up with our excursions, the good and the bad and the ugly.
Yeah, and fortunately, there weren't a lot of bad and ugly.
Yeah,
And we had a wonderful experience.
Oh, yeah, it was great.
And
Great trip.
we didn't let the roads intimidate us or scare us.
Took our time.
Took our time.
Yeah, we enjoyed it. It was a fun trip. Glad you guys came along, and I hope you're glad you came along. I hope everyone out there has a great holiday season, because this isn't a Christmas video, but it is that time of year.
It is.
So until next week, which, man,
Expenses.
yeah. Do I have to be here for
Yes,
that?
you do. You most definitely do.
I could just be behind the camera.
No, you will not. You need to sit here. So we're going to go through and do the expenses,
Yeah.
and we're going to cover all the expenses like fuel, campground fees, all the excursions.
It might get ugly, folks.
It's going to get pretty ugly.
So yeah, that'll be next week. We'll tell all
Yeah.
on what we spent. So until next week, thank you guys for watching,
Thank you very much.
and have a great holiday season, and we'll see you next week.
We got time on our side. We're in a state of hope. I need you on my fire. I want you to know that every time you're away, I long for you so much I can find my way. We got everything here, at least to stay alive. And the time that we share makes it all worthwhile. Got this place on our own. Do you feel that we got something strong? And I saw you walking the line, and the truth may come as a surprise that we I feel alive. You soul.